So the last session we were discussing calculating the enthalpy change when enthalpy of change of formation is given, and we did one question related to that. The next one is if enthalpy change of combustion is given, how we can solve a question. So example, if enthalpy change of combustion is given, we use the concept. So calculating the enthalpy change by using the enthalpy change of combustion. So the concept which we use the Hess law. Like we have the reactant. The reactant can form a product, and we need the energy change, enthalpy change. We call that as delta H. So we use the concept that if we burn reactant by the help of oxygen, if we burn reactant, or if we burn a product by the help of oxygen, we burn a product. So as a result of a combustion, what it will produce? It will produce a common product will be there. When reactant is burned or a product is burned, there will be a common product. So what we can say, using a Hess law, we can say the overall energy change is independent of the route or the path we follow. So where the two arrows are pointing out, that is the start of the cycle, and where the two arrows are pointing in, that is the end of the cycle. So if we follow route 1, like example delta H plus the combustion of a product and the combustion of the reactant. So if we follow, like example, enthalpy change for reactant is A, and for combustion of product, reactant is A, and combustion of a product is B. So according to Hess law, the overall energy change is independent of the route or the path we follow. So the energy change of route 1 will be same as energy change of route 2. So delta H plus B is equals to A. Or if we need delta H, so delta H will be equal to A minus B. So using the enthalpy change of combustion of reactant minus product, we can find the enthalpy change of the reaction. So example related to this concept. So if we want to calculate the energy change for a chemical reaction and the enthalpy change of combustion is given. So example, using the Hess law to calculate the enthalpy change from the combustion. So using the Hess law to determine the enthalpy changes of combustion, if you want to calculate the enthalpy change, like in the question, the carbon monoxide reacted with hydrogen to give methanol. And the question is, we have to calculate the enthalpy change for this reaction. So carbon monoxide reacted with hydrogen, this result in a formation of methanol. We want to calculate enthalpy change. So if we burn carbon monoxide and hydrogen, so when we burn carbon monoxide, it will form carbon dioxide. If we burn hydrogen, 2 moles of hydrogen, it will produce 2 moles of water. Or if we burn directly methanol, so it will also produce carbon dioxide and water. The enthalpy change of combustion for carbon monoxide is given minus 283. Enthalpy change for 1 mole of hydrogen is minus 286. But there are 2 moles, that's why it is 2 multiplied by minus 286. And enthalpy change of combustion of methanol is also given 600 71 negative for 1 mole. So when we work out where the two arrows are pointing out, that is the start of the cycle, and where the two arrows are pointing in, that is the end of the cycle. So according to Hess law, the overall energy change does not depend on the route. So if we follow the route 1 or we follow route 2, the overall energy change will be same. So we can say enthalpy of the reaction plus enthalpy change of combustion of methanol is same as enthalpy of combustion of carbon monoxide plus twice the enthalpy of combustion of hydrogen. If we need enthalpy of the reaction, so it will be enthalpy of combustion of carbon monoxide plus twice the enthalpy of combustion of hydrogen minus enthalpy of combustion of methanol. So when we substitute, we'll get the enthalpy change for this reaction. Is it clear? So when combustion is there, whenever a combustion is given to you, so reactant can burn, product can also burn, and that leads to a common product or a combustion product. But if formation is given, we should add a link, and that link is element, element form reactant, reactant form product is same as element directly form the product. Is it clear this example? When enthalpy change of combustion is given, how we use to calculate the enthalpy change of reaction? Any doubt in this part? So another example, here carbon and hydrogen react to form propene, sorry, and then we need this enthalpy, because when element are forming a compound, so we call that as enthalpy change of formation. So according to the question, if 3 moles of carbon reacted with 3 moles of hydrogen, as a result it is producing 1 mole of propene. Element forming a compound, we call this enthalpy change of is known as enthalpy change of formation. And enthalpy change of combustion of carbon is given, combustion of hydrogen is given, and combustion of propene is given. So if we burn carbon and hydrogen, the combustion product of carbon and hydrogen combustion need oxygen. So what will be the product? It will produce oxygen, it will produce carbon dioxide. If we burn 3 moles of carbon dioxide, it will produce if we burn 3 moles of carbon, it will produce 3 moles of carbon dioxide, and if you burn 3 moles of hydrogen molecule, it will produce 3 moles of oxygen. Same way, if we directly burn this propene, it will also result in a formation of 3 moles of carbon dioxide and 3 moles of water. In the question, the enthalpy changes are given, enthalpy change of combustion of carbon. So here, how many moles we are burning? We are burning 3 moles. So this will be 3 multiplied by minus 393. And we are burning 3 moles of hydrogen as well, so it will be plus 3 multiplied by 3 moles of hydrogen, that is minus 286. If we burn 1 mole of propene, the enthalpy change for combustion of 1 mole of propene minus 2058. This is unknown, this is what we need. So when we work out using a Hess law, the overall energy change is independent of the route or the path. So this is the start of the cycle and this one is end. So we can say delta H plus minus 2058 equal to 3 multiplied by minus 393 plus 2 multiplied by minus 286. So then delta H, when we substitute the values, we'll get 21 kilojoule per mole. So to prepare 1 mole of propene, we need this much energy. Is it clear, this example? Any doubts? if we want to calculate experimentally, practically, if we want to calculate the enthalpy change, and this is normally done for exothermic reactions, it's easy to identify as compared to endo. So example, if you want to measure the enthalpy change for the reaction, so for that purpose we use water, because water is having a greater capability to absorb the heat energy, and the energy which water absorbs you can represent by Q or you can represent by E. The formula is Cm delta T. In physics you have learned that energy is equals to specific heat capacity multiplied by mass multiplied by temperature change. So if we multiply these three factors, what we will know? We will know how much energy is absorbed by the water. And this energy divided by the moles will get how much total energy absorbed per mole. So example, we have a spirit burner, or a burner is there, and which is filled with a fuel. So when we burn this fuel, a fuel will produce heat energy. What we will do, we'll use this heat energy which is released by the combustion of the fuel to increase the temperature of the water. So example, initial temperature of the water is say 20, but when the fuel burned completely, the water temperature rises and its final temperature is example 45. So we can calculate the temperature change by taking a difference of 45 minus 20, which is equals to 25 degree centigrade. That's the temperature change of the water. To know how much energy is, because our assumption here, the energy released by the fuel is same as energy absorbed by the water. In practical, it's not true, because some of the energy will be lost to the surrounding. But what is our assumption? Our assumption is that when we burn the fuel, the energy released by the fuel, the combustion of the fuel, is same as energy absorbed by the water. So we'll calculate how much energy absorbed by the water. So we have the formula E is equals to Cm delta T, where C is a specific heat capacity that is fixed or constant. It is 4200 joule per kilogram degree centigrade and 4.2 joule per gram degree centigrade. Because we take mass in gram, that's why we write here 4.2, not 4200. Multiplied by mass of the water. Normally, we don't measure the mass, we measure the volume of the water. By reading the level, we normally measure the volume. Say example, the water volume is 10 cm cube. But because the density of the water is 1 gram per centimeter cube, so as the density is 1 gram per centimeter cube, so mass will be equal to volume, because density is mass divided by volume. If density is 1, so the mass of the water is same as the volume of the water. So if you have 10 cm cube of water, it means how much gram of water will be there? It means we have 10 gram of water. If 20 cm cube of water, the volume, then it means 20 gram of water. As a water density or solution density is always, we assume that it is 1, it does not have any other impurities. So it is always 1 gram per centimeter cube. So most of the question, they don't provide you the mass of the water, they provide you volume of the water. So volume of the water will be always same as mass of water. So example here, it will be 10. Multiplied temperature change, in this example, the temperature changes from 45 to 20, 20 to 45. So temperature change is 25. So we'll multiply all these factors, 4.2 into 10. So that is 42, and 42 multiplied by 25. That is 1050. So 1050 joules of energy is released by this fuel, and whenever energy is there, we use kilojoule in chemistry. The enthalpy changes are in kilojoule. So it will be 1050 divided by 1000. So it will be 1.05 kilojoule. That is the energy. But sometimes they ask calculate energy per mole. So to calculate the energy per mole, that is the energy divided by number of moles of the fuel. So if we have 20 moles, we'll divide by 20 and the final answer will be kilojoule per mole. One important thing you have to keep in mind, if the reaction is exothermic, temperature is rising, so how you represent the final answer should be negative. If temperature is decreasing, the reaction is endothermic, then the final answer of enthalpy change should be positive. So example, different ways are there we can use to calculate the enthalpy change. Like example, if you want to measure the enthalpy change of a reaction, say zinc is added to copper sulfate solution and this is enthalpy. If we want to calculate the enthalpy change of combustion, we burn. So in case we want to measure the enthalpy change of solution or a reaction, so if we want to calculate the enthalpy change of a reaction, like example, zinc, which is solid, is added to copper sulfate solution, which is aqueous. This result in a formation of zinc sulfate, aqueous, and copper as a solid. So what we will do when we have aqueous copper sulfate, aqueous copper sulfate is blue in color. So this copper sulfate solution or aqueous copper sulfate solution will be blue in color. We want to calculate the energy change for this reaction, enthalpy change. So to calculate the enthalpy change, we should know the energy and we have the formula E is equals to Cm delta T. Even though it is aqueous copper sulfate, practically like a salt dissolved in water, it should have a high density as compared to a pure water. But what is our assumption? We always assume that the solution density is same as the water density. If density of water is 1 gram per centimeter cube, so density of this solution is also 1 gram per centimeter cube. So if in the experiment, if we took say 30 cm cube of the solution of copper sulfate, it means the mass of the copper sulfate will be 30. Copper sulfate solution or mass of the water will be 30. In practical, the density of the water as it dissolves salt, it will be higher, but our assumption is that when a salt is added to water, its density does not change. So if the density of the water does not change, if the mass volume of the solution is 30 cm cube, that will be same as volume of the water, and volume of the water is same as the mass of water. So mass is 30 here. Specific heat capacity, because it's a aqueous, water is there, that is 4.2. Multiplied by temperature change. Practically, how we can work out the temperature change? So for this purpose, we can sketch a graph here. So we have time and the temperature. Temperature is there on y-axis and time is there on x-axis. So we have the solution of copper sulfate first. And we add zinc. But we did not add zinc directly. Like example, the time is in minutes. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So what we did, first we switch on the timer, like we switch on the stopwatch, but we did not add zinc. Why we did not add zinc? Because we want a constant temperature of a solution so that we can identify its initial temperature accurately. So this is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60. So when we start the timer, like example, the temperature was 0. After 1 minute, the temperature is 0. After 2 minutes, the temperature is 0. After 3 minutes, so temperature is not 0 basically, it's 20. The same temperature till 3 minutes. Then what we did, we add zinc when the time is 3.5 minutes. So we add the zinc when the time is 3.5, but we are only measuring a temperature after every 1 minute. So when time is 3.5, we did not measure the temperature, but we add zinc. But when we add a zinc, zinc react with copper sulfate solution, and the reaction cause the temperature to change. So at 4 minutes, example, the temperature is 55. At 4 minutes, it's 55. At 5 minutes, example, it's 50. At 6 minutes, it's 40. 7 minutes, until 8 minutes, we did this experiment. Now, how we can work out the temperature change by these readings? So what we do, we will draw a vertical line the moment when we add the zinc, we'll add a vertical line. So we'll make a vertical line, and as the temperature is decreasing, why the temperature is decreasing means the reaction has completed, that's why it is losing energy, so temperature is decreasing. So we'll draw a line to show a trend for temperature decreasing, and the vertical line to show the moment when zinc is added. So the point where these two will intersect, that is the final temperature. And what is the initial temperature? The starting experiment, the temperature at the start of the experiment, that is initial. So we'll take the difference of the two temperature, T2 minus T1, and this will be delta T, which is also known as change in the temperature. So using this concept, we can work out the temperature change, and once we know the temperature change, we'll substitute the value of the temperature change here. We have the volume of the solution is same as the mass of solution, and the specific heat is considered 4.2. So when we multiply these factors, we'll know how much energy is released when this reaction occurs. Is it clear how we can work out the energy change occur when a reaction is there in the solution, or enthalpy change of a reaction? Any doubt in this part?
Sir,
Yes.
what sort of reaction is displacing copper?
This is a displacement reaction.
Okay,
So this is a displacement reaction. What happens? Zinc is more reactive, so it will displace copper. The solution will turn into zinc sulfate, and the copper metal will be there left at the bottom.
okay, thank you, sir.
So practically, we want to know how much energy is released or how much energy change occur. So we use the formula Cm delta T. C is a specific heat of the solution, and we consider that specific heat of the solution is same as specific heat of water. Practically it change, but negligible change is there, that's why we assume it is same. And what about the mass of the water? The mass of the water is same as the density of the volume of the water, because, or volume of the solution, because we assume that the density of the solution is 1 gram per centimeter cube. Now only thing which is left is temperature change. How to measure a temperature change accurately? So what we did, we start the timer, but we did not start the reaction, so that like it will have a same temperature as a surrounding, or it will have a constant initial temperature. When we add the substance, that moment will not measure the temperature, because we are measuring a temperature after every 1 minute interval. So we'll get only values after 1 minute. And using a trend, the moment when we add the substance, we draw a vertical line, and the moment the temperature is decreasing, so when we intersect the two lines, we'll get the final temperature. So by taking a difference in the temperature T2 minus T1, we'll know the change in the temperature. So after knowing the change, we can work out the enthalpy change of the solution. But what are the errors in this method? What are the mistakes in this method? When normally what happens when you are mixing a solution, some of the heat might loss to the surrounding. Practically, it's always there. Heat loss is always a factor which leads to difference in the experimental values and the practical, like the practical value and the theoretical value. And we approximation in specific heat of the solution, because we assume that solution specific heat is same as the specific heat capacity of water, but in practical it will be different. And neglecting the specific heat of calorimeter. This cup is known as calorimeter. What we did not consider that this cup absorb any energy. This cup did not take energy. What we consider that when a reaction occurred, all of the energy is transferred to the solution, and nothing energy is transferred to the surrounding or to the calorimeter. This cup is known as calorimeter. So we did not consider the enthalpy change, the specific heat capacity of calorimeter. And reaction or dissolving may be incomplete, or it will be slow. We assume that when we add zinc, all of the zinc dissolve instantly, but in practical, it might be different. And density of the solution is taken same as density of the water, but in practical, the density of the solution will be higher, as it contains dissolved salt as compared to a pure water. So these are the errors in this method. So calculating the enthalpy change of a reaction. So generally we use the formula E or Q is equals to Cm delta T. Then we'll work out the moles of the reactant and divide by the number of the moles. If the reaction is exothermic, we'll put a negative sign. If it's an endothermic, we'll put a positive sign. Now this example, as you can see here, this is a similar example here related to what I have explained to you. Calculate the enthalpy change of a reaction where 25 cm cube of 0.2 mole per dm, m means mole per dm cube, the concentration. Copper sulfate is reacted with 0.01 excess of a zinc. The temperature increase by 7. So first we have the formula E is equals to Cm delta T. So specific heat is 4.18 is the actual number, 4.2 I rounded off. What about the mass of the water? The mass of the water is same as the volume of the solution, because we assume that the density of the solution is 1 gram per centimeter cube. So its mass will always be same as volume. So volume is 25 cm cube for the solution. It means that will be same as the mass of the solution, 25. And the temperature change is 7. So the amount of energy which is released here as a temperature increase, so it means it's an exothermic reaction. So 731.5 joule of energy is given out. Now, if we want to calculate enthalpy change, enthalpy change is always, the enthalpy change is delta H, which is energy divided by moles. So we got the energy, we should know the moles. What moles we will take? We will always take a limiting reagent, because the excess reagent will give us more moles. So, and all the moles are not reacting. So we always take a limiting reagent. So here zinc is reacting with copper sulfate, result in a formation of a zinc sulfate plus copper. In the question they mentioned zinc is in excess, so we'll take in this example the moles of copper sulfate. How to get the moles of copper sulfate? The concentration into volume. Concentration is 0.2. and the volume is 25 cm cube, divide by 1000. So these are the moles of copper sulfate. Now to calculate the enthalpy change, that is the energy change or energy release or absorbed divided by moles. So energy is 731.5 and the moles are 0.005. So we'll get 146,300 joule per mole. But better you should write your answer in kilojoule. So we divide by 1000. So it will be 146 kilojoule per mole. And now in exam you have to mention a positive or a negative sign, depends on the question. If a reaction is endothermic, it will be a positive sign. Reaction is exothermic, it will be a negative sign. So that's why we put a negative sign here, that minus 146 kilojoule per mole, and your answer should be in three significant figures. Is it clear how we work out the enthalpy change of a solution or enthalpy change of a reaction when we have a solution? Is it clear, this example? Any doubts?
Sir,
Yes, Hussein.
when do we put the negative and plus sign?
When we put a negative sign, if the reaction is exothermic, if the temperature increases, because the enthalpy change for exothermic is always negative. So in this question, they mentioned temperature increased by 7. So this gives an idea that this reaction is exo. And whenever exothermic reaction is there, the enthalpy change should be negative. But if the same question was there and instead of increase, they mentioned decrease, then enthalpy change should be positive, or the reaction will be endothermic.
Okay, sir.
Another example, 25 cm cube of 2 mole HCl was neutralized by 25 cm cube of 2 mole sodium hydroxide. If we don't have any limiting reagent, like if both reagents are in the same amount, we can use any one of them. So we have two solutions. One is 25 cm cube HCl and the other one is 25 cm cube of sodium hydroxide. We normally keep them for some time so that both will have the same starting temperature, and then what we did, we mixed them together in another container. So the moment when we mix them, so what will be the temperature, what will be the volume of the reaction mixture? The volume of the reaction mixture is now 50, because you mix 25 cm cube of HCl with 25 cm cube of sodium hydroxide. So the volume will be 50 cm cube. So we want to calculate the energy change for this reaction or enthalpy change. So enthalpy change is energy divided by moles. Moles of limiting reagent. So energy is equals to Cm delta T. So specific heat 4.18, temperature change they mentioned that when we mix them, the temperature change is increased by 13.5. And what about the mass of the solution? As we know, density is 1 gram per centimeter cube. So mass of the solution is always same as volume of the solution. So volume of the solution is 50 cm cube. The mass will also be 50. So it will be multiplied by 50. Why not? Why we do not use 25? Because here what happened, two solutions are mixed together. So when two solutions are mixed together, the final volume will be the sum of individual. So when we multiply, we get this energy. Then we calculate the number of moles of HCl, because in the question they're asking what is the energy change when for 1 mole of HCl. That's why we got the moles of HCl. If they ask enthalpy change per mole for sodium hydroxide, so we'll use the moles of sodium hydroxide. HCl, the concentration is given 2 and the volume is 25, so we get the mole 0.05. And then enthalpy change is energy divided by mole. So energy is 2821 divided by 0.05. So we'll get 564,300 joule per mole. We divide by 1000, we'll get answer in kilojoule. But because the temperature is increased here in the question, so what we should put? We should put a negative sign. So negative sign indicates that the reaction is exothermic. Is it clear, this example? And if we want to calculate the enthalpy change of a combustion, so enthalpy change of a combustion, as already we discussed, that we will burn the fuel. We assume energy released by the fuel is same as energy absorbed by the water. So we'll use the formula E is equals to Cf delta T. So calculate the enthalpy change of a combustion when 0.65 grams of propane 1 was completely burned and produce 150 grams of what heat of 150 gram of water from 20.1 to 45.5. So we have the formula E is equals to Cm delta T. M is the mass of water, that is 150. Specific heat capacity of water 4.18. Temperature change, the difference 25. So we get the energy. And then the moles of propanol, moles equal mass in gram divided by molar mass. So mass in gram is 0.65 and the molar mass of propanol is 60. From the formula you can write C3H7OH. So we'll get the moles, and energy divided by moles will get enthalpy change. But you can see that initial temperature is lower and the final temperature is higher. So it means the energy is released. That's why we put a negative sign. Is it clear? This example, the enthalpy change of combustion. But there are errors in this. Our assumption is that it burned completely. So error in this matter, what are the errors? Heat lost to from calorimeter might lose. Incomplete combustion of the fuel might not burn completely. Incomplete transfer of heat energy. Evaporation of the fuel might evaporate. Heat capacity of the calorimeter is not included, and measurement not carried out under standard condition as water is produced as a gas. So we cannot say it is standard enthalpy change. We can say enthalpy change, but not standard, because when we burn the fuel, the water should be produced in a liquid state, like vapors is there, not the water should not be in a gaseous state, not water vapors when we burn the fuel. But practically it is producing a vapor, so it won't be accurate. Is it clear? Next session we'll do more questions related to the topic. Any question related to the class today? As we discussed enthalpy change, this is a very important topic and you will find different type of questions. Any question related to the class?
Yes, sir.